Thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to read a little something that I wrote, and then I'm going to turn it over to the readers. Today, August 31st, is International Overdose Awareness Day, and we're marking this day with a short online event in honor of my son, Kyle David Fisher Hertz, who died of an overdose when he was 26 years old. Last year, the pandemic was not kind to addicts. A record number of Americans, more than 90,000 of them, died of a drug overdose in 2020, more than in any previous year in history, and 20,000 more than the prior year, when it seemed we were finally turning the tide and beginning to stem the steady increase in overdose deaths that had plagued us for the previous decade. The United States represents just 4% of the world's population, but we were 25% of the world's fatal overdoses last year, meaning our citizens are dying from taking too many drugs at a far higher rate than anyone anywhere else in the world. When I told someone I was going to be opening tonight's event by saying a few words about the overdose epidemic, she wondered what new thing I could possibly say. But I believe that even though we are years into this overdose epidemic, the two main messages that I want to share in both my new book, What I Should Have Said, a poetry memoir about losing a child to addiction, and in my brief address tonight, are still not familiar enough to most people. The first message is that medication-assisted treatment saves lives. No one should be judged or stigmatized for taking methadone or Suboxone, nor for following any other medical plan to stay off street drugs. I wish I had known this myself when my son was alive. He and I wanted him to get Vivitrol, which is a monthly shot that blocks opioid receptors and cravings and doesn't allow you to get high. But he had just turned 26, lost my insurance, and discovered that the state health insurance he had in Nevada didn't cover that drug, whose brand name is naltrexone. The clinic would only offer him Suboxone or methadone. He called me a few days before he died to say that he thought if he couldn't get the Vivitrol shot, maybe he would just take the Suboxone they were offering him. Tragically, I maintained a stony, judgmental silence, letting him know I would be disappointed in him if he took that drug. I thought he was better than that. I thought he could just stop. I didn't realize his disease was terminal until it killed him. Since then, I have had the opportunity to visit a methadone clinic where I saw dozens of healthy young people run in, take their daily dose, and run back out to take their kids to daycare, to get to their jobs, and to go on with their lives. So I want to say that if you love an addict, please know that he or she has a deadly disease with an incredibly high relapse rate, as high as 97% without medically assisted treatment. I still think naltrexone shots are a miracle. They now have shots that can block your opioid receptors for up to 6 months at a time. But if those shots are not an option, going on Suboxone or methadone will provide the addicts we love and want to stay alive a bridge to wellness. We should be celebrating the people who go that route, choosing to live and giving themselves an opportunity to function again, rather than shaming them. My second message is for the literally millions of parents, siblings, friends, cousins, and other loved ones who lost someone to an overdose in the past 5 years. Though early grief will shake you to your core and make you question whether you can go on, I am here to say you can survive and learn to carry your grief with grace if you just hang in there and practice self-care like it's your motherfucking job. You can have a life of peace and even joy after even the most profound and devastating loss. Post-traumatic growth is real. No one wants to be driven to their knees by loss and trauma, but all of us can, in time, with a lot of hard work on ourselves, allow our worst experiences to open our hearts and bring us closer to our true spiritual selves. And now I want to say a few things about my amazing, brilliant son, Kyle, who died not only because he was an addict. My amazing, brilliant son, Kyle, who died not only because he was an addict, but because he cared so much about what other people thought of him that he spent the last 10 years of his life always trying to one-up himself and act crazier and more death-defying than he had the day before. He started rehab only addicted to crack, but he probably thought in some twisted way that he wasn't as hardcore as the other addicts were until he was as addicted as everyone else to the most deadly drug. He let them teach him how to shoot up. So I want to speak directly to any young people who haven't done drugs yet. Please don't let yourself be swayed by your desire to impress anyone. And if you've done some drug, maybe dabbled in marijuana or alcohol, but haven't yet done the deadly trifecta, crack, meth, and heroin, please don't try to play it cool if someone offers you one of those. Please know you are lovable without laying your life on the line to look cool for anyone. At the end of this event, if any of you want to name and let us recognize someone you loved who died of an overdose, please do. If you have a picture to share as you say your loved one's name, we will be glad to share that too. This is the book that I wrote, What I Should Have Said, which is about my loss of Kyle and my slow recovery from it, and it includes 20 of his poems. I feel blessed I was able to include his work in the book, and you can purchase the book from me, local bookstores, bookshop, or Amazon. The fact that Kyle will never write another word and isn't here to read his own poems is tragic, and it's why we're remembering him on this particular day. But I am, someone's talking. Can you please mute yourself? I'm sorry. But I am so grateful that 5 of his good friends have agreed to gather here with us to read his work for him. We're reading 5 poems because on September 20th of this year, Kyle will have been gone 5 years. And as I introduce each reader, I'm inviting them each to tell us how they knew Kyle before they read us his poem. Evan, I did not see you here. Are you here? Dang it, that is Evan. And that's Evan and Kyle. I will have to read that poem then, I guess. That's too bad. Oh, Ashley. Ashley, do you want to read the poem? You were my stand-in, and if Evan isn't here, you can read it even though I don't have a picture of the 2 of you.
Sorry, I was like talking to you guys and you obviously.
Sorry.
Okay, you ready? Okay. I Rue the Nights by Kyle Fisher Hertz, age 23. The nights, more than the days I rue, reflected on in morning light, the shadows of the nights are true. I shield my eyes when skies are blue and keep them squinted till the night. The nights, more than the days I rue, I feed my wants at every cue, with disregard as if of spite. The shadows of the nights are true. Details I try not to review, but flood and drown me in insight. The nights, more than the days I rue, but what good does it do? If only when the world is bright, the shadows of the nights are true.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Evan is so sorry that she missed being there to read the poem, but wanted me to read the statement that she had written about Kyle. I met Kyle in an AmeriCorps program called City Year in Seattle 10 years ago. We didn't know why at the time, but we were instantly drawn to each other. Eventually, we learned it was because we were both melodramatic, expository dreamers with bright shines, dark pasts, strong mothers, and a notable ping pong obsession. We would talk about our hopes, fears, and Kyle's love for subatomic particles over countless games of ping pong. I love Kyle because he gave me every reason to love who I was and fight for who I wanted to be, and he was one of the first people who could make me laugh past my doubts.
Yeah, my name's Tommy DeSalt. I was in treatment with Kyle several years ago, and we spent a lot of time kind of hanging out throughout all the group activities, but at the house and sober living, and just spent a lot of time together. And I can say that in all the years, I've been to several treatment centers, and Kyle was somebody I really connected with. We both were writers, and I'm a songwriter. So Kyle and I wrote quite a few songs together and worked on stuff throughout our time. But the poem I'll be reading, it's called Liquor Bottle Might As Well Be a Pistol. Liquor bottle might as well be a pistol. I take shots like a cop with his clip full. Fuck popping a pill, I need a fistful. because the beast in my belly never gets full. I try to stand my ground, but I get pulled like a midget with a leashed up pit bull. Because my addiction grips and then it yanks my chain, makes my thoughts so naughty I should spank my brain. Coming up with grand plans so damn insane, I'll break my arm like a retard, then go to the ER and tell the nurse 10 when I rank the pain. Because I'll do anything it takes just to get my fix. But when I start to sober up, I regret the shit. Gotta figure out a plan to forget this shit. So while I think, I pour a drink just to wet my lips. Next thing I know, I'm shooting dope and I'm stressed as shit because I'm digging in a vein I can't get to hit. I'm fucked, and not just the tip. Fucked like an old lady with a busted hip. I'm alone and I've fallen and I can't get up. Laid out on the couch, feeling jammed as fuck. Exhausted by the thought of just standing up, let alone trying to hustle up my next score. Getting high is the only thing I get dressed for or take breaths for. I just press forward with the piece of life I traded all the rest for.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
Thank you.
Kyle loved you so much. He talked to me a lot about the fact that you wrote songs together. And if you ever have one you want to sing for me, I'd love to hear it.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
That would be great. Steph, you're next.
Hi everyone. Lynette, your memoir is so beautiful. I couldn't put it down, so I just want to say that, and thank you for inviting me. I met Kyle in 2010, the summer of 2010. He was my first love, first serious relationship, and we met in Brooklyn, but I was going to be moving to Seattle 6 weeks after we met, and I think about 3 weeks into meeting, I was like, you should come to Seattle with me. And he was like, yeah, I should. And so he did. And we had a couple of really amazing years there together. And I've always felt really lucky because I feel like I really got the best of Kyle before things got really hard and complicated, although I saw some of that too. And yeah, Kyle's to this day, like the smartest, funniest person I've known. And I miss him all the time. And yeah, just the best friend I ever had. So. Oh, should I pull up the poem or is it going up there?
I got it.
Okay. And actually, I think that this poem was written as like a country song with Tommy. I feel like when he sent it to me, he said that. I will not be reading it as a country song, but I feel like when he sent that to me, that's what he said. So The Only High for Steph by Kyle Fisher Hertz, age 25. Long before I ever bought a legal drink, I was punch drunk off your laughter. Girl, you've got to be the only high I ever chased that didn't lead me to disaster. I kept chasing like a dog in a park full of squirrels while you tried to hold my leash till I wore you down and you let go to let me be a beast released. By the time I turned around, you were already gone, but you left a note with your number saying, call me, I'd still like to hear your voice, but I can't watch you go under.
Thank you so much. It's so beautiful to hear each of you read these. I so wish he were here to read them, but I love that you're all here reading them with me. George. George was, maybe I shouldn't say, never mind. George can say. George, can you unmute yourself?
You can introduce me any way you like. That's fine. Don't worry.
Okay, I was going to say you were his grand sponsor.
That's fine.
Because you were the sponsor. Someone's volume is on in my house. Sorry. You were the sponsor of his sponsor. You can.
Well, all right. My name is George, and I'm an addict, and I met Kyle probably around 8 or 9 years ago. I think it was like 2013, the first time he came in. I forget who he came in with, but they were running buddies for a while. But he came in, sat in the back of the room, and it was really obvious that they were new. And you know, myself and a couple other people introduced ourselves. And Kyle was a little leery of me being a very old man. I came into recovery and got clean in 1980 when I was 19 years old. And, Kyle really was looking for someone young and cool who would let him do the stuff that he wanted to do. So he went through a series of sponsors, a couple of people, and each and every person that he asked turned out to be one of my sponsees. So he wound up staying in the family anyway. But, he spent a few nights on my couch when I lived in Jamaica Plain. And, this is the saddest part of my recovery is having these things to go to. Can't say it'll be my last. But the poem I'm reading for Kyle tonight is called Without You, written when he was 24.
Oh, wait, it's coming. Hang on.
Oh, I have it. That's okay. I have it.
Okay, go ahead.
Without you, I'm so lonely. But when I'm with you, I'm alone. I lock my bedroom door, open up my dresser drawer, and start to swoon, smitten, seeing you in front of me. Warm tingles spread out from my core. God damn, I couldn't want you more. Who would want to be alone with you for company? You just please me. I just let you. Selfishness does not upset you. If you could talk to me, you'd whisper, please, abuse me. Everyone tells me to forget you, and some days my mind is set to. But your voice echoes through my head. Come back and use me. Will you destroy me? Maybe. But you're not the problem, baby. The issue is something else. I've tried to cover, it's not you, it's me. I'm sure a whore like you can see. My problem is, I'm such a selfish lover.
Thank you so much, George. In addition to letting him stay with you, I know you also took my credit card to buy him food at a time when we couldn't trust him to spend money on the things he needed to keep him alive. If everyone could please mute themselves who isn't speaking, I would so appreciate it.
I don't think Gail knows how.
Oh, all right, I'll do it. Thank you. Okay. And now this is the last person who's going to read with us tonight. He told me he was going to be reading from an overdose day awareness vigil in Belchertown. Dwight, are you there? I know he's here. I saw him.
Here I am. I'm unmuted now.
Thank you, Dwight.
Hi, everybody. This picture is bringing tears to my eyes. I'm Dwight Southwick, and I'm an alcoholic. One of the symptoms of alcoholism is drug addiction. I am a residential manager at a men's sober house. I started doing that in 2013 or 14. And Kyle was one of the first guys that came through the house, and it's probably one of the big reasons why I'm still doing this to this day, going on 7 or 8 years or however many years. So that's how I met Kyle, and I'd just like to say that Kyle wore his exuberance, not just his smile. Every one of these photos he's got a smile that would light up a room. A very exuberant young man, and I have some great memories of Kyle, but I am going to just read his poem. I Fear That My Prayers by Kyle Fisher Hertz, age 26. 1 month before he died. I fear that my prayers are just waves sent out into this vast abyss, rippling through space that might as well.
It's okay.
Sorry, I lost it. May I start again?
Of course.
I fear that my prayers are just waves sent out into this vast abyss, rippling through space that might as well be emptiness. Fears the absence of faith, and I am a scared little boy. I fear the darkness. Yet I refuse to open my eyes to the light, convinced that my eyelids are all that is real. As I stumble around, stubbing my toes and bumping my head with my eyes squeezed shut, you tell me to open my eyes, for God's sake. Don't I know how much easier it is to navigate life in the light?
Thank you so much, Dwight. Kyle loved you too. He told me he appreciated when you called the police on him. He knew you were only trying to help him. Yep. This is Kyle and his daughter, who I have to mention, as it also adds to my grief. We have 10 minutes left, and it says that on the screen, but who I have to mention because I haven't been able to see her, nor has any member of Kyle's family for 2.5 years, and we miss her. That's the book, but I wanted to give people a chance to name other people who they were missing. And I thought I had a couple of pictures of people here, but maybe I don't. Somehow I don't have them. I was going to name Pete Parise and Samantha Owens, 2 friends of Kyle's, one of whom overdosed 4 months before him. And his mother and I were brought together by our boys' connection, and we've become friends. And then Samantha Owens is a woman he lived with in Las Vegas who died this year, sadly. Does anybody else have anybody they would like to mention or share a picture of? I can stop sharing my screen now.
I have someone, I don't have a picture of her, but Natalie Gray, she was a kid I met who was in a foster youth that I worked with. She was a really amazing, smart, awesome kid. And she died a couple months ago. She was 21.
I'm so sorry. Gosh, that's awful. Renee, I can't figure out how to stop sharing my screen. Can you help me? Thank you. Anybody else have anybody they want to mention?
I do.
Go ahead, Dwight.
I have several guys that we have lost while I've been at the house, and I would like to mention Chris Linehan. I would like to mention Christian Diaz. I would like to mention Brian Metzger. I would like to mention, there's probably ones that I forgot just because I can't bring them to my head right now, but there's been too many. I got clean in 2010, and I have been to more funerals in the last 11 years than I have in the preceding 54 years of my life. That's all I have.
Thank you.
And I'll mention that on my Facebook page, anybody who has Kyle on their Facebook can probably find mine. I have an entire album called my Sleeping Angels album of people that I've sponsored, people that I've been sponsored by, and just very close friends in my recovery programs who have passed on. So I have an entire album of photos.
I'm gonna look you up, George.
Thank you. Bobby?
Sure. This is Jared. Jared passed 7 years ago. He was an addict for probably the last 4 or 5 years of his life. I'm not sure of the exact circumstances of his passing. The police did not do their job. His death certificate says that he died of a drug overdose, but that is not the whole story. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, but the reason why he passed is he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it was because of the disease of addiction. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. Does anybody else want to name and remember anybody?
I would. I'm Beth D'Angelo. It's a little twisted and I'm filled with some emotion here. This is the last picture of my 3 kids, the boy in the middle with a big smile and his arms wrapped around his big brother, his mother, and his little boy. His name is Sean. He died behind the wheel of a car that did not kill anybody. And in my presentation at BPUSA, I announced for the first time I'm the mother of a drunk driver. But I got sober in 2006, relapsed in 2013. And I identify with everybody who is trying to stay sober, trying to stay clean in our stories. And I cannot imagine, I mean, I didn't mean to say that. I am so thankful, Lynette, that you brought Kyle to all of us so we can have this place of being honest and vulnerable. We can have a water ritual with tears, and we can remember, and we can be honest with where we are today in each one of our stories of coping skills. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I see that Evan, who we're so sorry, Evan, we missed having you to read that. You weren't here when we needed to read that poem, and I'm so sorry. But I'm glad to see you here. Here, I'll pin you so everyone can see. I shared a picture of you and Kyle at the beginning. It's great to see you. Does anybody else, and I just have to warn people, this is gonna shut down momentarily. Does anybody else have anybody they want to name?
Yeah, I do. Yes. This is my son Miles when he was 10. He died when he was 21 of prescription overdose. And I was one, I didn't know he was an addict. I didn't know he was using things. He kept it very hidden. But that was 17 years ago. And I miss him.
Thank you, Liz. I met Liz and Beth and Bobby and probably some other people here at the National Conference for Bereaved Parents of the USA in St. Louis earlier this month. It was a very special time that we were all able to be together. Anybody else? I hate the thought that you might get cut off in the middle, but if there's anybody else, now's your moment.
This is Kathy Waterman, and I would like to mention my cousin's niece, Carrie Joyner, who had other names from marriage, but she died 3 or 4 years ago. She was 42, the mother of 2 older children and 1 younger child, who are finally flourishing today. But she died from a heart attack caused by basically alcohol poisoning. So I am so glad that you're doing this tonight. And I feel, not the pain of a mother, but I understand what you're going through.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Anybody else?
I want to just finish out with some words from.
Oh, wait,
Kyle.
I have to mute myself for you to talk. Go ahead.
So Kyle wrote, I said to Kyle,
how are you? And he said, hey, Jamie, sorry, just saw this. It's going pretty well, other than being homeless, because I'm sober and back in AA. People from the program are coming to my aid and putting me up at their houses. I gave all my money to this guy, George, my grand sponsor, and I was really annoyed today because I had no money for cigarettes. I'm trying to stay humble and remember that I'm only 4 days sober. It's crazy how immediately sane I feel just after getting clean, when I was just acting totally self-destructively and irrationally only days before. It's kind of scary to have a mental illness like that, where I can go from feeling totally sane and rational to complete downward spiral so quickly. I can only imagine how scary it is for outside observers who care about me. But like right now, it seems impossible that I would decide to go use. And yet I've made that insane choice from a position of apparent sanity so many times before. It would be unbearably maddening if I didn't see so many other people who have gone through the same exact thing and who have finally found a lasting solution.
Mm.
So yeah, just some, I guess.
Wow.
For everyone.
Powerful words.
Yes, wow. Thank you for sharing that, Jamie. Okay, it says we have less than 1 minute. I want to share with you all of my love, the love of all of our family. I'm glad this is recorded and I will share it. This was a very special night for all of us. Thank you so much. You can all unmute yourselves and say goodbye if you want.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynette.
Bless everyone.
Night, everyone. Thank you, Lynette. Thank you all, Kyle's friends and
you.
sponsors.
Stay as long as you can, Lynette.
It just